Today is one of those days where I'm just feeling slightly hopeless, and I think I'll feel better if I can just talk it out. But just thinking about all the problems I have to figure out and solve, and time constraints, things like that. In I think it's 7 months now, 7 or 8 months, that job program. So basically, it's 9 months free of getting that drive to work. And then after that, it's either $3 or $6 for every ride, I think it is. So I've got a time limit on that. And this all came to mind because I looked at my email and I saw a notification from Nintendo telling me that my subscription to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack is over in 2 days. I know that sounds silly, but I never even really wanted it. There was, I guess, a year ago from today, back when the other person was still living here, there was a blood relation who lives elsewhere, has kids, and I was wanting to, have some fun, be relative, and play, online video games with the tots, like, oh, it'll be fun, and I'm kind of exciting. I know all the secrets to the games that they like, and I could, help guide them through the games, and kind of pretend, not to quite be very good or above their skill level, and assist them, carry them through the levels and things like that. So I worked it out with that relative and all that blood relation, and paid the money for the online, and then sent them the money to also pay for the same expansion pack version of Nintendo Switch Online. And then at the last second, they whiffed out. And made up an excuse that made no sense if you thought about it for more than a second. Then when I pointed out that the thing that they brought up wasn't, going to be an issue, then they made up another excuse that contradicted everything that they had been talking about up to that point as to what, the situation. It was just completely made up on the spot. It was clear that they were just trying to backpedal and get out of it, so I just let it go. And they're like, "Oh, we'll take the money you gave, and we'll spend it on other things for them." And I was just thinking to myself, okay. So, as you know, up until recently playing through Metroid Prime, I haven't played video games, so that subscription to the online has just been sitting there, going unused. Hasn't been used and touched for anything. I literally just got it for that reason. And so it's just been sitting there, and today, in 2 days it's gone. So I asked my one very good friend, like, hey, I've got 2 more days on this online thing. You wanna, play anything online? And that person told me, like, oh no, actually I ran out of my own a long time ago. I can't use it. So that, that was just like, all right. And then I was just thinking about this whole remote job thing, and it's pretty much my own hours. I can choose whenever I want to start it or work on it. But it's this, but every day, almost every day, it's got some new stipulation, new rule change. It's not very consistent. There's not even necessarily work to do every day, even though I personally haven't run out of work to do. The work itself changes each day, and there's always the risk of running out of work to do, each day. And each day, the people that this company works with constantly change up the rules on them. There's a new risk that'll get you taken off of stuff or locked out of certain things. It's irritating as all get out. And that other thing, there was another part of it, like a different work type that had a lot of promise. It was potential. That was kind of the big break. Just doing that, and it was going to make a lot of money in the course of a week, just working those hours, doing those things. And then, so I went through the process, I signed up for it, and the very next day, it got suspended. They haven't said that they're canceling it or that it's off, but actually, now that I think about it, my Nintendo Online subscription has 2 days until it's completely gone. And also this other work thing I was just talking about is officially over. It gets ended, terminated, officially, in 2 days as well. But the problem is that, so I went through the process, I signed up for it, I got approved, and then the very next day, it got suspended, and they were like, we're going to try to find a way to get, tune in, we'll keep you updated on what happens, but the official cutoff day is in 2 days, and they suspended it weeks ago now. So, I signed up for it, it immediately got suspended, and in 2 days it won't even matter. It won't even matter because, that'll be the official... Whether or not it got suspended, 2 days is when it would have... Even if it hadn't gotten suspended, in 2 days it's gone, and that's it. But it's just getting me down. That feeling of as soon as potential opens up, as soon as something that could work out comes up, as soon as it just gets, buried, covered up, goes somewhere else, or gets removed. It's like seeing a ladder right in front of you, and you can climb up it, but then as soon as you go to climb up it, someone pulls up the ladder, or the rungs on it break, or something like that. And then, on top of that, another thing that hit me today is just missing Killua a lot. I put his box on the shelf. It is a bit bigger than Gon's. So it fit. And they both look both the boxes look really beautiful next to each other. And, yeah. Just, I realized, not that I realized today, but today I felt really strongly just how much I miss Killua and his love. Just the affection. Our relationship, that little cat. I felt really strongly today just how much I missed him being here. And how much love he had to give, and how much love I had for him as well. And now it's... So that's been getting me down as well today. Just thinking about that. Yeah. And on top of that... Don't mind me if I just pile on stuff, but that group I joined, not the one with artists, I already told you I quit that, and I felt good. I felt amazing after. That was a good quit. But the other group, the other group I was talking about, that I did those drawing streams for and all that. The main guy who did that, he just like jumped ship. Doesn't know when he's coming back. He got into like a bout of self-deprecation and self-doubt, and he decided to just dip. And so now with that, there's no one to like uphold the place, the rules of the place, keep things going. Everyone who's there is just kind of interested in dropping their quick joke or a video or whatever, and then, when it comes to anybody else, they just kind of disappear, disengage. And in general, they've started engaging less with other people, so there's not even much for me to try and make up the difference by engaging with, They just sort of drop a joke and disappear, and most of them now just don't even really pop in there and talk anymore. So that's kind of a low point. This is like one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is just kind of a low right now. Just kind of in that lull, Lull, where things are just a bit low and just trying to carry forward and taking care of it, Sometimes I think to myself about the possibility of working together with other people on YouTube, But, as far as it stands, I don't have any relationships like that, or necessarily anything going for me in those lanes. I'm always interested in things like working with other people and collaborations and things like that. But, it's one of those things I'm interested in, but I don't really have necessarily, So I'm just finding ways to kind of move through this low point at the moment, and this is one of those ways. As usual, this is one of those ways, just speaking about it. Today I made myself some steak. I've just been really hungry recently. As you know, I don't have a spectacular amount of food, and when I do eat, it's like a meal a day type thing, just a simple piece of steak or a bit of chicken, maybe some salmon, that kind of thing. Nothing much else. But today I found a can. I don't want to make it sound like it's been sitting there. I have a can of pumpkin that's not expired, just haven't used it yet. 100% pure pumpkin. I used a can opener, popped that sucker open, and paired it with the steak, and it was nice. It was nice. I looked up a recipe. Not that I have the ingredients to make it, but I could approximate it as much as possible. And then I had it, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Not at all. But, today I just went to go start the remote job. And more disclaimers and stipulations and things like that started popping up, like more things that could risk you getting, taken off of stuff, and we're trying to work with people on this, and, be careful, tiptoe around this. But even regardless of that, there was that creative job I had mentioned a while ago that I messaged a person about, and I'd gotten pretty hopeful, and then I guess you could call it ghosting. And sorry, I saw something and I had to check really quick on it, but I guess you could call it ghosting. That's the term that I looked it up, and that seems to be the closest thing. So today I just sent one last message, basically just politely saying, like, just to be certain that we had communicated. I received no follow-up response. Respectfully, I'll ask, is there a possibility of this moving forward and this process advancing, or is this it here and I should cross this off the list and move on to something else entirely, you know? And, as of yet, no response. I don't expect there to be one. There wasn't a response before, so I don't know why there would be now, but I've sent more job apps into the void about a week ago. You see, I always have this thing where I get down on myself and feel like I'm just being lazy, That, you don't do anything, you don't work, you don't, do any, you're just a lazy guy who lies around. And then when I go to think about the time frames of stuff, it's like, no, I went through that. I did that 2 days ago. I literally just did that, or I did that yesterday, or literally last week I was working on that, and then I sent them out, and then started working on, other stuff. Like just last week, sent more job application, but it always, for me, I mentioned this before, when it's an hour ago, it feels like a day ago. When it's a day ago, it feels like a week ago. When it was a week ago, it feels like it was 2 weeks ago. When it's 2 weeks ago, it feels like it was a month ago. When it's a month ago, it feels like it was 3 months ago. Like, that kind of thing. Sending more job applications kind of out into the void, Not sure exactly what you call my prospects. But, it's only Wednesday, There's a lot of things that could happen. I'm just feeling so muck right now. I'm not sure whether to do more of this remote tasking work right now. Really just feeling bleh, I'm glad that I formed enough of a habit that, I'll do the daily drawing for, this thumbnail for this journal, and then I'll have to figure out, if it'll be rest or if it'll be searching for more jobs to apply to, remote job stuff. Just trying to find something better, maybe a little more structured, a little more consistent, Just sending emails and job apps and all kinds of stuff. I went to Curiomatic's website and they're not hiring for anything. There's a couple other places I can check really quick before before the day ends. Work with indies, I've been through that. LinkedIn, so on and so forth. Applied for a couple positions, things like that. There's a particular spot on my table where I sit now. Well, where I've been sitting. It's facing away from the sofa towards the entrance and the TV. When I play games, I have to turn around to look towards the TV. But when I sit on the other end of the couch, it brings up a lot of bad memories of looking at the other person sitting on that couch doing their stuff and them getting into their various rants and tirades and, going on about their various things or complaining about stuff or, starting up things and just them getting lost in their own head and me sitting on the other end of the couch. I used to sit there and, that person would be in perfect view and I would have to just try and keep working while they were just going on an endless rant and I could barely focus on my work. And I just associate that end of the couch with a lot of stress and anxiety and being barely able to focus, not feeling safe, being able to do anything to try and move forward and things like that. So now I sit on this end of the couch, facing away from that area, and I'm able to look out the window. Yeah. Just feeling the insurmountable odds, I guess you could say. Yeah. Another thing is kind of feeling down about the fact that, 500 subscribers before you can even imagine, making monetization off of things like YouTube. I don't know. It's going to be a while. Mainly not because I'm trying to beg for it or anything, but because I saw this video from this person talking about how, like, in the first week, they uploaded a video talking about, they do art tutorials and things like that, and why your drawing is like this, or, stuff like that, more instructional type stuff, constructive. And they were talking about how, yeah, like in the first week they already met the threshold: view counts, hours watched, subscribers. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't know, I'm not nearly as useful as anything like that, I'm playing a game that's already niche, not really talking about anything that's useful to anybody else. It's sucks. This stinks. That kind of feeling. I think once I'm done with this journal, I'll probably go searching for remote jobs again. Probably have a nice YouTube video playing in the background and see if I can find anything, and then if not that, get back to tasking on that remote job, making that bit of extra money on the side. Little Erdrick here is playing with a silver string. It's really cute. He's adorable. They've all been so good. I'm so glad that they're here. I really am. They're the sweetest little babies I could ask for. Oh, there he goes. Tipped my water bottle over. I'm also partly worried because I'm getting really hungry oftentimes. And so I have to, really hungry, and then I eat something a little extra one day in advance, and then I gotta tell myself, I gotta make up for it with those free meals when I go to work. How can I ration this, but also, be able to eat enough to actually think and make it through the day, And I know there's that 1 meal a day thing where it's like, you kind of detox yourself and eventually you'll be able to think again. You just got to go over the hump. The thing is that I got over that hump a long, long time ago. I've been doing this for a long time, and this whole 1 meal a day thing. And now when I'm hungry, it's because I'm actually, I need to eat something, that kind of thing. But, I'm just trying to look for ways to improve my mood, so to speak. Doing this has certainly helped. It helps to get those kinds of hopelessness and doubts out and talk about them. Even if, nobody shows up or nobody listens to it. That is what this channel is for, after all. In the end, this channel is for me. Whether anybody hears it or not, I can take solace in that. I'll at least be my one viewer. That kind of thing. But, yeah. I don't think there's anything else much I want to talk about right now at this moment. Just gonna go sort things out. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll take a nice warm bath. Maybe that is what I need right now. Maybe that'll help get me in gear. When the other person was here, that was always the place. I'd hide out in the bathroom. That was the one place where I felt safe and secure and alone, which was very nice. You know what? Maybe I still have that built into me, that a nice bath will kind of help recenter me. Nice warm water, Yeah. So, yeah. I guess the other thing I'm kind of worried about is this place falling apart, that I won't be able to take care of it, things like that. That maybe I'm not responsible enough, or that I don't have enough time, or what have you. But, all those fears and doubts. We'll see what happens, I've got no real advice for myself, pushing those fears and doubts to the side, powering through them, living with them, managing them, whatever it is, I don't know. The best thing I can think of to do is to just say it into this phone, and record it, and get the feeling out, and then think of those things that'll help ground me a bit more, anchor me, and keep going on. So, another thing I get worried about, another thing is the thought of repeating myself over and over. The thought of saying the same things that I've said before. Thought of not quite being interesting enough for myself, or the thought of, that this is a very, maybe overly, totally selfish channel. That kind of thing. That I talk too much about myself. Or what have you. But, this is what I got to work with so far, and I've found other solutions along the way. I've found other things to do, and that's just another thing to think through, and another thing to ponder and move forward on, and see what I can do. If it's truly an issue, if it's truly a problem, it's something that'll stick with me and last, and you know what? I'll sort through that too, or at least try. This is that era I mentioned before of just, it's free to ask that question of, it's free to say, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but it's nice to be able to follow it up now with, I'm trying. I'm going to look. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to try my best. And I'm going to try and find out. Yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna take my own advice with that, and I'm gonna go take a nice warm water. Nice warm water. Alright. That's it.